Sai Nicole, and welcome to the Legal Talk Show, brought to you by Say What, with support from the Swedish Embassy in Zimbabwe. Today we are talking about a very grave matter. Well, not a grave matter, but a deep case in the issues of morality, but more so in the issues of legality. We've seen around the cases of people who are being taken to court for selling and or importing sex toys. And we want to understand, how does that impact us as the youth? What are they saying about sex toys in terms of our sexual reproductive health? Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by two very astounding guests. We have with us Betty Chihota and as well as Nkobile. Yay, you know, Zulu does the things, Ndebele does the things, but we'll carry on as it is and we'll ask them to introduce themselves one by one. Starting with you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Betty Chihota. I'm a social work student at Zimbabwe Guti University, and I'm also a sexual reproductive health defender. Thank you.
Ah, nice, short and sweet to the point. Yes, sir.
Hello, viewers. My name is Nkobile. I'm a lawyer by profession, and I'm also owner of a consultancy firm called Ideas Matter Consultancy.
Ah, nice. So we have with us someone who is in Zimbabwe as a young youth and someone who can also give us legal expertise. I will start with you, ma'am. This is a case of morality. It's true. And I want to understand, what are your thoughts on the subject matter? When we talk about sex toys, what are you thinking? What are the youths of Zimbabwe actually thinking about it?
Okay, thank you. As a young person in Zimbabwe, I think the issues of sex toys is a controversial issue. But as a young lady in Zimbabwe, I believe that sex toys must not be banned because we'll be infringing on women's rights. We have our sexual pleasure rights. We really need to have sex with whatever that we want. We really need to have sex, maybe using sex toys, because these days we have issues of relationships. These relationships are now toxic and you are even failing to get a lover. If you get a true one, either he is married or he is seeing other women. So at the end of the day, I want to have sex. I do have sexual feelings. I do have to have sex. So I end up resorting to sex toys. And I think banning them will be infringing on our rights because we really need to have sex as young people.
So what we're basically saying is that mjolo yanyisa.
Yeah, mjolo yanyisa.
Epidemic.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this is where young people are coming from. We're saying, okay, we have problems in this area. We have a solution. So why are we banning the solution? So I want to understand, what are actually our rights? Most people might not know the rights that we have according to the Constitution in terms of sexual reproductive rights. So what are our rights?
Well, our Constitution definitely gives individuals sexual and reproductive rights. But also we have international human rights systems as well that also do recognize sexual and reproductive rights for individuals. So sexual and reproductive rights includes the right to access information as well as family planning services, and that also includes sex toys.
Ah, okay. So we do have the right to have access to it. Is that what you're saying?
What I can definitely confirm is that we do have sexual and reproductive rights within the Constitution. So then with regards to the matter of sex toys, the law is still yet to be challenged. I understand that there's currently a matter before the Constitutional Court that is challenging the current laws that ban the importation of sex toys in the country. But also the current law that exists is only the law that prohibits the importation of sex toys. There's no specific law that talks about the manufacture of sex toys within the country.
So in terms of this, a manufacturing and importation laws, what exactly are you saying? Can you explain further on that issue?
Okay, so the custom, like I previously mentioned, the Customs and Excise Act is the one that is the operational law that bans the importation of sex toys. However, there is no specific law that stipulates that the manufacture of sex toys is illegal. However, the only law that in a way could sort of like be implemented is maybe the Censorship Act. But however, that specific act in itself in terms of the powers that it has, the powers of the censorship board, it only relates seemingly to matters of artistic expression. So these are things like film, sculptures, books and such. It does not specifically seem to relate to items that are outside of artistic expression, such as sex toys.
Okay.
So like I said, this is an area that where the law is still yet to be challenged, and we can only get an affirmative answer either from two ways. It's either our lawmakers implement a new law which clarifies whether they're illegal or not, or alternatively we'll get our answer from the judiciary once they make a decision on the current case that's before them that's challenging the ban on the importation of sex toys.
So there's a loophole. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me that there's a loophole. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a loophole. We don't need to talk about this anymore. I think we can close the case. Let's just go and manufacture. What do you think about the issue?
Okay, I think there is a loophole on the law, as I said earlier, because the law specified that it criminalized the importation of sex toys. At the same time, I'm worried. So does that mean if we are to manufacture our own sex toys here, are we as women being allowed to use them?
Yeah, I think it's there's a little bit of clarity required, right, in terms of what exactly are we saying about this. But this is more so a morality issue. And what we're talking about here is self-satisfaction. And now we want to understand, if our constitution is saying we have freedom of expression and we have freedom of thought and opinion and all that, what is it then saying about masturbation? Is masturbation now becoming illegal? Is that what they are saying? Talk to us.
Masturbation is definitely not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Sexual expression within the confines of the law, well, at least heterosexual sexual expression, is definitely not illegal in the country.
It's not illegal in the country.
It's a constitutional right.
It's a constitutional right.
Yes.
So where is all the commotion coming from, really?
Well, what I can definitely say is that in terms of Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe does have some conservative beliefs, and unfortunately, some of these include the policing of women and men's bodies, but mostly women's bodies. So I think that in terms of the our understanding of the interpretation of the law, this is when now it seems like we are limiting. This is when it seems like the law is limiting individuals' right to sexual and reproductive rights.
We're pushing this expression of rights and all of that, but then I come back to you, Betty, and I ask the question, what benefits? Why are we even discussing this issue? Why is it a matter? What are the disadvantages or the advantages of sex toys? Why do we need to have this conversation?
Okay, I think we have so many advantages of using sex toys. It has so many advantages because if we look at mental health issues, using sex toys, you don't have to have stress around mujolo. I have stress that now I have an STI, I'm now pregnant, I'm now what? Because issues of mujolo, of relationships, you end up saying I have an STI, but sex toys, we are free from health issues like HIV, STIs, because you are using sex toys. So there's no one way that you wake up having an STI when you're using sex toys. And there are no issues of stress that he didn't pick my call after having sex with me, so many issues. So I think we have so many pros around using sex toys.
So many advantages, the mental health aspect and all of that. So I think really here the matter is that we are not looking at sex toys as a product, but rather we are looking at the side effects after we have imported it, after we have maybe manufactured it here. Do you think that there are any side effects, sir, after we've imported or after we've manufactured?
Okay, I think let's go back first to the law.
Let's go back to the law.
So according to section 46, or 47, sorry, subsection 1, paragraph B and C of the Customs and Excise Act.
Batang. Yes.
It is illegal to import any goods which are deemed to be obscene, indecent, or any goods which are deemed to or tend to deprave the morals of a society.
Okay.
So I think now the whole question falls upon the interpretation of what are our moral values as a country. And so what you also need to understand is that the Customs and Excise Act was actually promulgated into law in 1967. Okay, so
that's old.
It's a very long time ago. So you'll find that our definitions of what is moral and what is immoral have evolved over time.
They have.
And unfortunately, some of our legislation is still yet to catch up in terms of coming to terms with our modern understanding of what is moral and what is immoral. Yes.
Okay, so from that perspective, we can understand that you are giving us medical advantages of us using sex toys, right? This law was put into place. I assume that when people put a law into place, they've thought it through, right? But they came from a morality point of view. So I want to understand, let's go on the flip side. What about the economic value of this thing? Will it bring any side effects that will be of economic value to the country? Betty, if you can give us your opinion on that.
Okay, thank you. I think if we are to look at law, the law has been taken away by modernity. I think the issues of sex toys have come up with feminists from America, and it has come here through globalization.
Okay.
And through modernity, now we are resorting to using sex toys, and I don't think there will be any problem on the economic side. Maybe what we have to do is to have a limit on age of people who are being allowed to use sex toys. Maybe if you can say 18 years, you are not allowed to use sex toys, or 20 years, I don't know. Okay. But I think there should be an age limit of using sex toys. Yeah.
So these are matters of policing now. Policies that come therein after we have maybe alleviated the ban on sex toys. A lot of conversations going on here, because let's say what here we talk about sexual reproductive health issues. I just want to remind people and invite people to call 577 if you have any grievances in terms of psycho help that you need, or maybe you need help on SRHR issues. So ladies and gentlemen, we will take a short break, coming back to these lovely astounding guests that we have and the crazy topic that we have today. I am Natsai Nicole. Welcome back to the Legal Talk Show, where we are discussing a very tricky matter. This is the matter of the legality of sex toys in Zimbabwe. I will remind you to please like and subscribe to all our Facebook pages, all our Instagram pages, as well as our Twitter handle at Say What. So basically all the other ones are Say What, and Twitter is at Say What. So back to the conversation with my lovely guests here. We were talking about sex toys, and we've delved into the matter, the intricacies of law, the intricacies of, people's own opinions about the situation. What I really want to ask and make it clear to everyone is that, is the banning of sex toys as a business not a violation of our sexual and reproductive rights?
I can definitely confirm that it is a violation of our sexual and reproductive rights. Because as I mentioned earlier, in the Constitution, our Constitution does two things. Firstly, it recognizes international human rights law. And also we do have our very own national law. And so because our national law allows or has provisions that include sexual and reproductive rights, which include sexual expression, so any ban or anything that limits those said rights is definitely a violation of those rights.
So I noticed there that you're also putting that there's two levels to the situation. It's not only like a national issue, but it's an international issue. And like you were saying before, where you said that globally we are moving and we are becoming one sort of community with this whole globalization thing going on. So I want to understand, what harm do we suffer as a country, not as like the whole world, but as a country, if sex toys businesses are allowed? What do you think are the harmful things that may be coming up in our community?
Okay, I think on the higher end, we can say the introduction of sex toys in Zimbabwe can cause a lot of harm, especially when we look at our young brothers and sisters, maybe 18 years and below. They'll end up even carrying sex toys to school, ending up having sex, using sex toys every time. Whenever they'll be using sex. So I think that's the most harm that we have. I don't think there will be harm to us grown-up ladies.
You've brought a very pertinent question though, is that if we are bringing these sex toys in, how are we going to police them? Does this then mean that we will need added policies to also accompany the legalization of sex toys. Is that what we're saying?
Well, we definitely need guidance from countries that have legalized sex toys or the sex toys business. And what we've come to realize is that they definitely implement regulations in terms of the use as well as the sale of sex toys. So as my colleague here has rightly mentioned, those regulations would also include age limitations and also limitation in terms of like where and how can you use such sex toys. So yes, definitely that would require a regime where we do have new regulations and policies regarding this business.
But what I more so want to ask you, a follow-up question, is that if we're going to set this as a law and we do put the policies and we do get the regulations done, we always talk in law and we say we are setting a precedence. And I want to understand, by putting this law, by putting these policies, are we setting a precedent for the future cases that may come about of things being created and whatnot and all of that? Are we setting a precedent?
Definitely. I'm really looking forward to the determination of the case that is before the Constitutional Court that is challenging the law on sex toys. For those of you who don't know, when we set a precedent according to law, it means that all other cases, right, will be guided by the same principle that has been made in the initial case. So definitely in the future, if there are other matters that do involve the expression of sexual rights, they will definitely be guided by that same principle that was made in that, or the same reasoning that was made in that particular case. So for there's technological advances that are happening with regards to sex toys. So it could definitely allow things such as sex robots, and I don't know what else would come in the future, because all of these would be defined as items or goods that are seemingly fulfilling individual sexual and reproductive rights.
So this now becomes our question, and I'll go back to you, Betty. How far is too far? Because at this point, we set a precedent, like he said. We allow the sex toys to come in. What are we saying thereafter? What about what comes after this? Because as a society, we are moving with our different morals and our different sections of the community, but we are moving forward, and we want to know, where is the forward that we're moving to? How far is too far?
Okay, thank you. I think the introduction of sex toys, or the criminalization of sex toys, as I said earlier, it infringes on women's rights.
Okay.
So I think the best way is we talk of the law first. I think there should be laws to be put in place and policies that will guide the use of sex toys and even put the age limit. I think also the society needs even to accept it that we are being moving from our old times to new times because of globalization from the Western cultures. As I've said earlier, that the issues of sex toys came up with feminists, from feminist groups. So we need to really look at the law first. The law needs to be aligned and the policies need to be put in place first. And
I want to go back to the origination of sex toys, the origination of self-satisfaction, the origination of masturbation. Confirm with me, both of you, this did not start now.
Yeah,
this issue did not start now. What I want to really go back to is the origination of sex toys, because we've been talking about it as if it's just a modern day issue. We mentioned that these thoughts are coming in from all different sorts of the areas of the world, but we want to understand what's the proper origin, because this did not start now. Do you have any cases that you can give us that come from back in the day?
Well, I think not necessarily cases, but I think if you look at anthropology, I think very recently, archaeologists recently dug up what they call the oldest sex toy in the world. I think it was in the Roman Empire at the time. I think they predated it something like 500 BC. I think any of our viewers can Google that, the oldest sex toy. And so what that points out to, however, that discovery is that even in ancient societies, self-satisfaction was something that they prioritized and that they deemed to be quite important.
So basically, we've been saying a lot, but what we are saying is that in terms of our sexual health and reproductive rights, self-satisfaction and masturbation is clear to be a right. However, in terms of the importation, is what we're saying is that there is a problem. However, we have been told by our dear Mr. Dube that there is in fact a loophole in terms of the importation, but the manufacturing can be done. So since the manufacturing can be done, that's a food for thought if people want to think about that as well. But we've also heard from Betty Chiwota, who's giving us the real talk, that women have been moving forward. Women now have their rights. Women want self-satisfaction. There are areas that need to be fulfilled. So let's fulfill the need. I don't understand what the case is exactly, is what we're saying here. These are issues of morality, I'll agree. These are issues of legality. But what we are saying here is we need to think more about it. We need to hear your thoughts on the issue. So please do contact us. Please do hit us up on Twitter @SayWhat. Please do hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and all the like. It's been lovely having you here. Very, very lovely having you here. I love the talks that were coming out here. This was the Legal Talk Show. Your host, Natsai Nicole, #Ndanatsa, with support from the Swedish Embassy. We'd like to say thank you and keep up with the legal talks.